Not only did we just get a ton of information about Borderlands 4's world, but we also got showcase gameplay as well as plenty of information on one of Borderlands 4's territories. In Borderlands 4, so far we know there are four distinct districts or territories in the open world: the Fade Fields, Carcadia Burn, Terminus Range, and Dominion. Each zone is going to be completely different in their aesthetic, enemy type, as well as the way the traversal and gameplay work in those territories. Now, for the first time in Borderlands history, the starting zone is going to be an area called the Fade Fields. This is an area with radiant beaches, whimsical rolling hills, and verdant forests. Fade Fields appear to be a temperate paradise, but under the serene veneer, danger lurks among darkness and long buried secrets. This area seems to be somewhat of more of like a tropical. It's going to hold different relics and tomb-like zones, cave systems like that. This is going to be a beautiful area, and it's a very different take for our entry zone in Borderlands because we're so used to starting on Pandora, starting on the Wasteland. But in Borderlands 4, we're going to be starting in the Fade Fields. We recently got footage and showcase of the second area that we are going to go into as long as we follow the story. And what I mean by that is, for the first time in the franchise in Borderlands, we have an open world. As we know, Borderlands 4, Planet of Kairos, is a completely seamless open world for the first time ever in the franchise. Now, in previous titles, we had to wait for story progression in order to get to different zones, but the way Borderlands 4 is going to work is we're going to be thrown on the planet of Kairos, and we can technically go anywhere. The only thing that's going to gatekeep us to different zones is scaling and leveling, as enemies in different territories and further out territories on the planet are going to be a lot tougher, and the survivability is going to be slim to none. As we make our way through leveling and scaling, we will be able to enter these new territories and take on different type of enemy types, enemy factions, different groups, and secure higher level loot. Well, the second area we're going to go to on Kairos is called Cardcadia Burn. This is the closest thing that we are used to for the Borderlands franchise, as this seems to be Kairos's wasteland style area, just like we have in Borderlands. And, kind of the idea of what Borderlands is complete wasteland, Mad Max style, the whole idea of just this sandscape with jagged desert canyons. Now, Carcadia Burn was not always this way. It has been fractured and torn apart by a celestial cataclysm. This is the events of when Elpis entered the atmosphere for Kairos and broke its veil. Carcadia Burn took the brunt of the impact and completely got swept away, burned, destroyed, completely changed the territory overall. It would be interesting to see what this zone specifically looked like prior to the attack, and I'm pretty sure we will see that through storyline and meeting different characters in this area of Kairos. But here is the home of the Rippers, led by the Queen Callus. She's one of the cooler looking antagonists in Borderlands 4 in my opinion, and she completely has separated herself and her army from the Timekeeper's mind control methods. Now, when Elpis did break Kairos's barrier, she saw a vision of her freeing herself from the control of the Timekeeper, which led her to ripping out her bolt and starting her army, the Rippers. Now, when Kairos did initially break the veil and Carcadia Burn took the brunt of the impact, a ton of psychomass started raining down on Carcadia Burn specifically, which led to the Rippers eventually using the psychomask as their symbol of unity, as well as to separate themselves from the Timekeeper's control. And this is interesting because this goes back to the first video we ever saw of Borderlands 4, the teaser trailer that was very short, and we do see the psychomass raining down. This is the area of Kairos where this actually occurred. It was on Carcadia Burn. Now, Carcadia Burn is a classic wasteland Borderlands biome. It's something that we're used to for the Borderlands franchise. It's dominated by orange tones, and it's a stark contrast to the starting zone, the Fade Fields. It's vibrant despite being desolate, and that's the most interesting thing to me when seeing this gameplay, is seeing Borderlands in this new era of gaming and seeing the graphical advance, as well as seeing Borderlands for the first time in an open world. You can totally tell the difference, at least in my opinion, graphically as well as visually, the way the world is presented and looks. And it's super amazing in this gameplay showcase. As they're running around, as they're riding their Digirunner, you can see the verticality in this area as well as areas in the distance, and you can also see the way the world seamlessly fades into the background as you're approaching different zones, and it just looks beautiful in my opinion. Like, I am extremely intrigued not only for this zone, but for Borderlands 4 for the first time being completely open world. I think it's going to be, in my opinion, the best Borderlands game we have ever seen. Now, we'll have to see how the story compares, but in terms of gameplay, in terms of exploration, information, it seems like it has a lot going for it. Now, a longtime Borderlands fan who does enjoy Borderlands 3 completely and goes back to the title time and time again despite its story, the hosts at Game Informer, who have been doing exclusive coverage on Borderlands 4 the past month, did have some interesting things to say that I think will push more players to be intrigued to try out the game if they're skeptical. Both Game Informer hosts were completely skeptical going in, especially after bouncing off Borderlands 3 in the pre-sequel. They state that they didn't like it wasn't Borderlands enough for them, and they stopped playing it since Borderlands 2. But with positive hands-on impressions, it shifted their outlook completely, and the game now ranks among their most anticipated titles of 2025. The visual evolution of the series, the improved traversal and movement overall, the dense and interactive open world, and the better variety of biome aesthetics, as well as with their hands-on preview, push them to want to discover Borderlands as a franchise once again. So this alone, coming from the idea of the host of the show and not feeling that Borderlands energy from Borderlands 3 and going into 4 with some skepticism, and then now coming out extremely excited for the title, makes me even more excited, because as someone who is a complete Borderlands fanatic and fan, I know I'm going to play Borderlands 4 and I know I'm going to enjoy it. Sure, it might have its problems, it might have things that I might not like, but for someone who didn't enjoy 3 and stopped at 2 and didn't like the pre-sequel, this just makes me feel like I'm going to love Borderlands 4 even more. Now, in Carcadia Burn, we can see the massive amounts of verticality that Kairos is going to have on offer with the new grappling system, the new hovering and gliding system and dash system. Traversals is going to be a massive part of how we explore this world. You could see different areas where they are extremely high up, way above the ground level of this world, and they say the verticality is not just, oh, okay, you climb up to a tower, you're climbing up to a peak. No, big sections of the map appear on higher elevated zones of the world. So when you get to the top of a peak, when you're traversing a tower, it then eventually will open up into this massive compound, this small town, where then you will take on whatever forces are waiting for you there. So it's not just traversal in the sense of, let me get to the top of this thing and that's the end all be all, but with the idea that there are different massive zones on each of these levels of the verticality of its map, which absolutely looks insane. Now, I think Carcadia Burn is really going to keep us in line with what we know for Borderlands 4, but in my opinion, it is my least anticipated zone to explore in Borderlands 4, because we're used to the Wasteland, we're used to seeing zones like this. Like in Borderlands 3, I loved Athenas, I loved Eden 6, because it was a different tone for Borderlands, and with Borderlands 4 having all these different territories, I'm excited to see and explore more. This is just a simple breakdown of Carcadia Burn. I'm super excited to see what awaits us in Borderlands 4. I'm extremely excited about it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it, as that's the best way to help me and the channel grow, and subscribe for all Borderlands content. We're going to be covering Borderlands 4 on its release. We have so much content planned for the title. I'm just excited to get my hands on it on September 12th. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers. I appreciate all your guys' love and support, and as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and good luck looting.